Well, I believe in church, and I've been privileged to be a part of a church being reborn, if you will. I've been privileged to be a part of the lives of the pastors with which I work who carry great burdens from poverty, to work with them closely as they advance their ministry. I mean, what a greater privilege could I have had? It's beyond words, really. I've been able to grow professionally and personally. Working in another culture means that miscommunication and assumptions often happen, and it forces one to learn more about yourself and how to read, how to wait, and how to listen better. I also had the experience, which I never had before, of being alone or standing alone. In Zambia, I was quite distant from the church of my home, the ELCA, and I also had to stand alone, sometimes if I was unpopular, in decisions that the church leadership or the pastors of the church wanted, either standing against tribalism or the fear of spirits, not controlling the church, but to stand where I was, and yet maintaining the close relationship. That was many things that the service has meant to me. Well, the church in Zambia with which I worked was not founded by or started by Western Mission Society. It was a breakaway church founded by lay people, and it was not a churchy church, if you will, a bit of a rough around the edges. I mean, I was asked by church members if I'd buy and sell diamonds with them, if I'd buy and sell leopard skins with them. Our meetings were pretty raucous. We had one microcredit meeting where I entertained a big debate on whether the loan money should be used for brewing beer. We had an evangelist arrested for mishandling money, so it wasn't a churchy church, if you like. And this one day, I had probably the worst moment of my 8 years in Zambia. I had a terrible car accident. I hit a young man, and I picked him up before a mob started, and along with a couple witnesses, we drove him straight to the major hospital. And I was beside myself. Had I come to Zambia to hurt someone? Is this why I was appointed here? This is terrible. I mean, this young man, I thought he was dead. And of course, I was afraid for my own skin because, right or wrong, I was going to have to face the police. And this is a very serious accident. So I was devastated. I drive up into the hospital, ready to yell for orderlies to help me carry the man in. And who do I see but the church women from the Lutheran church and a couple pastors who I work closely with. They were there visiting the sick in the hospital, and they took me, and they took this man. We got him through for treatment, and they stayed with me while I faced the cops. Even though I come as a missionary from the West with resources and power, I didn't feel very powerful then, I must tell you. I felt pretty empty, and they were there for me. It was very special, and that's one slice of participating in God's mission, if you will. We were excited. We had a wedding. Our church, the Zambian church, almost no one is married in the church. That was another feature of it being a young church with it wasn't a churchy church. Nobody got married in the church. So we were trying to encourage this to build better marriages, protect women, and build up the spiritual emphasis of the married life. So we had a pastor in the bush who had a couple that was ready to be married. We were very excited. So the senior pastor and I and another pastor and Pastor Philip, my boss, had come to visit. So we drove up a day and a half to Akwimi, and we were sleeping at the pastor's homestead, the local pastor's homestead. I was ready to preach, Pastor Philip was going to teach, and the local pastor was going to bless the marriage. About an hour or two, we were getting ready, the next morning, ready for the wedding at the church. And word comes, the police have heard that there's an underage couple being married, and they want to talk to you all immediately. Now, my jaw just dropped. I thought, this is just great. Here I am, I'm an American progressive, and I'm participating in something like this, marrying underage people. You know, how did this happen? And secondly, here's my boss. I'm just waiting for Philip to say, that's great, Arden. I'm glad to see you're really doing good work here in Zambia. You know, I felt like such a stooge. So we go with some of the family and the local pastor to the police, and after a lot of debate in Chewa, they determined, yeah, the couple's legal. You know, luckily, save our skin. But let me tell you, I didn't let that happen to me again.